there's just no easy way to set up these magazines to show you and read it at the same time. Anyway, this is Guitar Shop. This was a very short run kind of magazine, February 1995. Thin. Look at these those are pretty small, and it's just all gear stuff. They didn't even bother with like music-y stuff, which was fine by me. So we're gonna go through this as if we're pulled up to the 7-Eleven and we are trying not to pay for the magazine and we're just trying to scan through it. All right, what do we got here? Crate Vintage Club. I've never tried one of those, but look at that. They got some good dudes on that lineup. Yngwie, Neil Sean, and Mark Kendall. Pretty good. Pretty good. Oh, you know, and I think this magazine, I'm sorry, I'm going to apologize. I think I cut out some pictures in it, so we may be SOL somewhere around here. But, you know, that's how it goes. Vince Gill with his Riveras. Very nice. Dimebag. Who would have thought that Dimebag would ever part with his beloved Dean from Hell? Oh, this is when he went to Washburn. The blue prototype of the Dimebag was made of Carina, but currently the Washburn design team under Grover Jackson is whipping up 2 mahogany versions for Dime, one in black and another in purple. Oh, and Danny Gatton had just passed away. This is the weirdest feeling pages. In defense of the humbucker. That is a useless article. All right, who's this dude? This is Anthony Topham. I guess they do have music in here. Which one is this? Guitar Shop. All right. Is this by like the makers of Guitar World, or I thought it was. Maybe I'm thinking of Guitar School. Can't remember. Little live music reviews. Humbucker tests. All right, let's see if I could pick out any of these that are kind of cool. The lace sensors. Do they actually talk about what it's... Oh, it sounded great. Both the neck and bridge positions. Red blues, suited for bridge. The dualies have the most punch, more bite than most of the other pickups I tested. Great for country picking. All right. The Les Paul came loaded with EMG 81 and an 85 in the neck. Super smooth, great for buttery women lead tones. 81 was powerful and fat. Some extra bite. Compared to the Pearly Gates, I would say the tone is darker and smoother. Again, this is a pretty useless test. You're just like, hey, it's smooth. It's big. Here we go again. The DiMarzio Norton. Both are smooth and fat and balanced and even. The Rio Grande Muy Grande. It's fatter and smoother. Everything is just fat and smooth. All right. Thanks for that. Oh, here we go. Look at that. Michael Landau, Steve Lukather, swapping guitars. So cool. This is when Candyman came out. It was like originally Los Lobotomies and Lukather's solo album all kind of strung together. And then Landau was doing Burning Water. Great stuff. If you have not listened to that, go get it. I'm just going to read a couple things around here. Despite the fact that he doesn't rely on effects the way he used to, Lukather still carts around a Bradshaw-designed rack system to add color when he needs it. Here are a few goodies Bradshaw packed into Luke's refrigerator. In my rack is the 3-channel Bradshaw preamp, which makes up the entire distortion sound. I don't use any fuzz boxes. It has a clean channel, a distortion, and then a Satan channel for total crunch. It's so versatile, and I could get so much bottom, as much bottom as possible out of any amp. I pull back the middle too for a fatter, smoother tone. I really like a lot of bottom. Then there's the VHT power amp that powers the left and right wet channels, and a Marshall that's been gutted and turned into my power amp to run the dry channel. All my cabs are Rivera 412s. Other than that, there are a couple of Lexicon PCM 70s for a little delay, and an H3000, which I occasionally use for a little harmonizer spread. There's a compressor, a couple choruses for the clean sound, and that's basically it. And wah! But it's so overused. Instead of dive bombing on the whammy, so many new players are overdoing it with wahs. Like Luke, Landau is also a devotee of Bob Bradshaw's custom audio electronics gear and creative setup wiring schemes. He maintains 2 setups, one for his solo bands, Burning Water and Raging Honkies, and the other for his day job, playing big sessions. Here's the dirt on each. For the Burning Water and Raging Honkies gig, I have a custom audio pedal board made for me by Bob that goes before my twins. In that system, there are a couple of tube screamers, which I use a lot for the nastier tones, and the twins are not set really gainy, so the tube screamer helps. I also used a Marshall and Mood Elevator for solos and other things, but I always tend to use a screamer for solos, or sometimes a Roger Mayer Voodoo 1, which is like a great fuzz face without the drawbacks. They can get kind of far out sometimes. And that weird tone on Killing Time is a 70s Tycho Brahe Octavia. It adds an octave higher plus distortion. The only other effect I use a lot is an old Univibe. All the delay came from the studio. Bob wired a whole bunch of pedals in my rack. I have a Boss Chorus, a Univibe, 2 Chandler delays that I don't use a lot, just for the occasional slap. I don't use reverb either. For studio work, I have my big rack with all the high-tech gizmos in there. Me and Bob call it the money rig because it makes me money and costs me a lot of money too. It's good for getting that 80s sound. When a producer calls me for a certain effect, I could pull it out. It's funny, people are so afraid of the word rack these days, but the truth is that even Kurt Cobain had a rack. For guitars, I bring a newer Gibson Custom Shop Les Paul, a couple Tyler Strats, sometimes a Gretsch. I use the Custom Audio 3-channel preamp and a VHT Classic power amp. I also bring a 1967 50-watt Plexi. I also have one of the new Custom Shop Vibro Kings, which I like a lot. Talking about how Lukather stopped doing sessions. He just tapped out. Put 9 gauge Ernie Ball strings for standard tuning and 10 for E flat. Here's Landau's amp settings. What does that look like? There you go. I can't see. This must be Vibro King. Yeah, it's based, just put everything at 6. Oh, this is why this magazine was cool. They have all these like rig diagrams. David Gilmour's Pete Cornish rack. That's cool. Is this better to see this way? Or maybe it's better back here so you can see the whole page. I don't know. Oh, so many rigs. Holy smokes. Slash, Gilby Clark, Billy Corgan running an 80A MP2, a Marshall JMP1, and a Triaxis. That's cool. That dude had like a full-blown rack. Bass. Why is there bass in there? Slayer. The boys from Slayer. Bogner. Oh, Jeff had a Bogner. It's called a fish preamp, but they called it a Bogner Shark preamp in 2150s. Kerry King did too. I didn't know that. Interesting. Dinosaur Jr. That got a bunch of cool stuff. Groove Tube Trio preamp. Soldano preamp. Bunch of pedals. You kind of see in that picture. Like his secret rack back there. I'm getting a call. Hang on. What are we talking about here? And we're back. All right, where'd we leave off? Oh, yep. Queensryche. Sorry. Their pictures of their rack have gone the way it used to be on my wall because I was a total gear nerd when I was even in high school. So, yeah. It's funny that they show, like, these guitars from his collection. Like, that's not Queensryche. Cool guitars, but get out of town. This is like Promised Land, which was the not successful follow-up to Empire. Let's see, they talk about anything here? No, they're talking about acoustic guitars. Okay, Promised Land. My primary amp is a Bogner Ecstasy, which is a very good sounding head, explains Wilton. It has hand-wound transformers and all this quality stuff. I've got one for the road and another as a backup. Bogner gear is great, but not cheap. But we're not into heavy distortion white noise tones. We like big, brown, woody sounds, big and meaty. In the studio, we use that old Vox and a matchless. For stage, we'll use both Bogner and Soldano heads. If I want that peanut butter super chunk tone, I go with the Bogner. For rack stuff, the good thing about Roland and Lexicon gear is they devote one whole rack space to delay and another to reverb. They don't do the multitasking thing. I think Eventide is the only company that's been really able to pull off some great multi-effect rack units. All right, this you probably need to see closer up. There's no way you're going to see this. It's Chris DeGarmo's rig. Can you even read these little things? He was really based on that Soldano X88 preamp. You can kind of hear it. It has that Soldano tone. Michael Wilton is here. He's got a custom audio preamp and the Bogner Ecstasy and a Stevens something. All right. Not that interested. Of course, the omnipresent guitar synth ads. Bluesing out on a headless Steinberger like that. Nice PRS CE22. This is a nice looking guitar. Coming in at $1,500. Groove Tube Solo. Those are nice. All right, my shoulder's starting to get sore from sitting in this weird position. Anything else in here that's cool? I'm feeling like might not be cool stuff anymore in here. Got all the cool stuff out of it. This was a good issue, though. I mean, you get Lukather, Landau, and Queensryche, and some cool rack stuff in one magazine. And that is why it has stayed in my box of magazines in the garage for decades. Oh, wait a minute. The Lukather Landau article has continued over here. Made in the shade. Here we go. For Mood Elevator, I used a Blackface Fender Pro Reverb and a matchless 212 bottom, but only so I could have the amp by me and the cab 30 feet away. I used Fralin pickups. We tuned to E flat. Uses 11 gauge on the drop D, E flat. My main Strat's a 64 with Fralin pickups. The other ones I use Tyler custom Strat style guitars with Fralins. The Tylers have a Wilkinson bridge. The tuning isn't as accurate as a Floyd, but I like the tone better. There you go. Oh, those are so ugly. All right, wrapping it up. Wrapping it up. John Finn, I had this album. That guy was real good. I think he was a Berkeley teacher or something like that. But I had that album back in the day. I might still have the CD somewhere. And we close out with Al Di Meola. Only guy ever to have reported to use an Aguilar preamp on guitar. I still have yet to hear one or find one. All right, so that's that. Wrapping it up. See you.